It began like any other day in Washington, but by mid-morning, the atmosphere had shifted. Federal judges had issued an emergency action precise and entirely unexpected for Trump's legal team. What appeared on the docket was more than just procedural. It was a warning, a seismic shake that would demand immediate attention, rapid decisions, and unprecedented coordination inside the legal offices. Phones rang constantly, teams huddled behind closed doors, scanning every document, every filing, and every prior argument. The move wasn't random. It was deliberate, and its implications were clear to anyone who understood the stakes. The courtroom battlefield had just been redefined. Reporters outside sensed the tension immediately. A court emergency always draws attention, but this one was different. The filing wasn't vague or bureaucratic. It directly targeted strategies the defense had relied upon for months. Analysts watching quietly from afar noted the precision of the move, understanding that the ripple effects could stretch far beyond a single case. Meanwhile, the White House buzzed with activity. Advisors scrambled to understand what the emergency order meant politically, legally, and financially. Any court action of this magnitude doesn't just stay inside the courtroom. It touches media coverage, campaign messaging, and the broader perception of authority. And when it involves Trump, those effects are amplified exponentially. But the most significant factor was inside the courtroom itself. Every attorney, every clerk, every judge now had to recalibrate what had once been a predictable flow of arguments, motions, and responses had suddenly become fluid, uncertain, and high. The unexpected emergency had shifted momentum, forcing the defense into reactive mode, and the clock was ticking. In situations like this, hesitation isn't just risky, it can be catastrophic. Every filing, every decision, and every statement could be analyzed, dissected, and weaponized. For Trump's team, this was no longer just about winning a case. It was about controlling the narrative, containing damage, and preparing for what could be a series of unprecedented developments. The key question now, what triggered the judges to act so decisively, and what does it mean for the Trump legal strategy moving forward? While the public only sees headlines, insiders know the truth is far more complex. The emergency response isn't just reactive, it's the first indication that something bigger, something more consequential, is unfolding behind closed doors. This isn't a minor disruption. This is a pivot point, a moment where the balance of power in the legal proceedings could tilt dramatically. And for Trump and his team, every second counts. Inside the courtroom, the mood shifted instantly. Attorneys whispered urgently, flipping through files, comparing deposition transcripts, and scanning previous submissions for inconsistencies. What had arrived as a sudden court order wasn't minor, it was strategic, precise, and clearly intended to force the defense into immediate action. Trump's legal team moved fast, but even the most seasoned lawyers recognized the stakes. This wasn't a procedural hiccup. It was a signal that the judges had spotted vulnerabilities, gaps, or discrepancies in previous filings, and they wanted answers fast. Every motion, every email, every document that had once seemed routine now became potentially explosive. Outside, The media scrambled. Reporters on live feeds speculated emergency court action could reshape Trump's legal strategy. Headlines blared, analysts debated on cable, and social media lit up with speculation. Yet, the public only saw the surface. What the cameras didn't capture was the meticulous, almost frantic work taking place behind the courtroom doors, where lawyers weighed every word, every possible interpretation, and every potential consequence. Meanwhile, the ripple effect spread. White House advisors, campaign strategists, and political allies were forced to reassess messaging, anticipating how opponents would spin the filing. Fundraising, emails, press statements, and social media posts were drafted in real time, walking the fine line between confidence and caution. Any misstep could be magnified across millions of viewers and voters. Inside, Trump's attorneys faced a ticking clock. The emergency order meant deadlines had shortened, decisions had to be made instantly, and every move was under scrutiny. It wasn't just about the law, it was about optics, timing, and strategy. One miscalculation could shift momentum irrevocably. And then came the crunch, the details in the filing. Subtle, almost buried references to prior testimony and documents revealed cracks that hadn't been publicized. Numbers didn't match. Statements contradicted other records. Minor inconsistencies that had once seemed trivial were now leverage points that could define the next chapter of the legal battle. Analysts, watching quietly from outside, immediately understood the significance. When judges act with this level of urgency, it's rarely arbitrary. It's targeted, deliberate, and consequential. Every legal professional in the room knew this. The defense had to pivot, adapt, and respond precisely and strategically. And the stakes couldn't be higher. This wasn't just one case or one ruling. It had the potential to influence multiple ongoing investigations, affect political positioning, and impact financial interests. The emergency response was only the beginning. Behind the scenes, attorneys prepared for a cascade of motions, counter-arguments, and unforeseen challenges that could unfold over the coming days. For viewers, the takeaway was clear. What seemed like a single court action was actually a high-stakes trigger, a pivotal moment with far-reaching consequences. Trump's legal team, seasoned though they were, had been forced into reactive mode, navigating a crisis that few outside the inner circle fully understood, but everyone would soon feel the effects of by the afternoon. The courtroom tension had reached a fever pitch. Trump's legal team had reviewed, re-reviewed, and cross-checked every filing, every deposition transcript, every financial document they could get their hands on. Phones buzzed constantly. Messages flew. Lawyers whispered urgently behind closed doors. And all the while, the judges observed, deliberate and precise, signaling that every second mattered. The emergency response wasn't just procedural, it was a strategic wake-up call. The court had identified areas that required immediate clarification, documentation, or explanation. And in the legal world, when federal judges act this quickly, it isn't routine, it's a signal that the stakes have escalated and that missteps could have consequences far beyond the courtroom. Political observers were watching closely. Every cable network, every online commentator, every social media pundit dissected the filing. speculated on motives, and debated what it could mean for Trump's broader legal and political landscape. Campaign strategists knew that optics mattered just as much as legal outcomes. Headlines like Trump legal team in chaos and federal judges shake up strategy dominated feed, amplifying the sense of urgency. Inside, the legal team faced a delicate balancing act. They had to respond decisively while controlling the narrative, defending against the filing without exposing additional vulnerabilities, and maintaining composure in front of both the court and the public. Each attorney knew that a single misstep could cascade into broader repercussions affecting ongoing investigations, federal oversight, and public perception. Meanwhile, subtle clues in the emergency order revealed more than they let on. References to prior testimony, internal communications, and previously overlooked documents hinted at deeper scrutiny. The court was signaling nothing can be taken for granted, and assumptions that had guided Trump's strategy so far could no longer be relied upon. Outside the courtroom, political reactions intensified. Allies sought to frame the filing as procedural overreach. Opponents cast it as proof of systemic vulnerability. And the media amplified every detail, every nuance, and every speculation. Yet behind the headlines, the real story unfolded in meticulous, high-stakes legal work, where every action and reaction had the potential to alter the course of multiple intertwined cases. By evening, it was clear the emergency response was not an isolated incident. It was the first domino in what could become a cascade of legal challenges, strategic recalibrations, and political consequences. For Trump and his team, the courtroom was no longer a controlled environment. It was a battleground where timing, precision, and strategy mattered more than ever. And for viewers, the takeaway is unmistakable. This crisis is just beginning. The federal judge's move has set off a chain reaction that will affect legal strategies, political narratives, and public perception. Trump's team is in reactive mode. The courtroom drama is intensifying, and every subsequent move will be watched, analyzed, and dissected. The story is unfolding in real time, and nothing about what happens next will look predictable. The next phase is coming. And when it does, it will redefine the stakes, the strategies, and the entire landscape of Trump's legal universe.